welcome to Erskine Arts Podcast Episode 9. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications on Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Google. Make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast to be notified when new ones go live. So welcome to Episode 9. With us today we've got a couple of members of our crew, and we've got some very special guests who, if you'd like to introduce yourselves now, gentlemen.
I'm Brendan from the Twilight Sad.
Yeah, well done.
I was going to leave that bit for you.
This is Brendan. And my name's James. I am in the Twilight Sad as well.
Very good, thanks for coming down. And our crew guys, to say hello.
Hello.
Good job. So thanks for coming down. Well, why don't you just give a wee bit of introduction? I'm sure everyone watching or listening knows who you are.
Really?
Maybe, I'm quite sure. If you want to give some background.
My name's James. I'm the singer in the band, and I started the band with Andy, who's our guitarist, about 15 years ago. And I went to school with Andy, and we've released 5 albums. It's really miserable, kind of miserable music about. I write the lyrics and the melodies as well, the vocal melodies, and I use the music as a form of, might say therapy in a way, where I talk about things in my life that I find hard to talk to in everyday life, to get it off my chest, kind of as a kind of cathartic thing, instead of bottling it all up and keeping it inside, which is not a good thing. That's what I do in the band. We've been doing it for 15 years, and I still can't believe we've been doing it for 15 years, and we've got 5 albums, and I like to say we're the cockroach of the Scottish music scene. What about you?
I'll tell you about me. I play keyboards in the band, and I have been hanging around with miserable Andy, James, and Johnny, who plays bass, since about 2012, I believe.
Amazing.
We're friends, unfortunately.
I probably should mention that part as well.
We're not just professional.
We pals first.
We pals.
I think that it was interesting in the description of the band, certainly some of the things, and the brief chats that we've had prior to today, the podcast happening, some of the chat that we've had, it's kind of touched on the things that you've mentioned there. And I think that at the heart of it for me, that's what the sad is about. Like there's a core there. It's an emotional thing, and however that is, however that resonates with the individual, at the very heart it is a really emotional response.
Yeah, I think that's why we're still here. If you know what I mean, like, I think people like us because, well, one, they think the music's alright, but within that there's a message as well. And the thing is, we're not writing about anything that's any different to anybody else. What we're going through is the same thing that everybody's going through. His life has its ups and downs, and I like to focus on the darker side of it, but in a positive way, if you know what I mean. I think it's important, like I was saying, to talk about these things, because I think in the past, maybe my mum and dad's generation and stuff like that was, you kind of keep it inside and just get on with it, you know, where that's, I was going to swear there, but I'm not going to. It's wrong. Whereas I think our generation has started to really kind of notice that we need to talk to each other and talk about things. And I didn't know that's what, when I started writing music, that's what I was doing. I was just doing it because it felt like I had to do it. But as the band's progressed and as people have kind of got into us and understood what it's about, they've shared that with us as well. And it seems like it's a kind of real kind of community that's kind of came together where, to be honest, it was just a bunch of pals writing music to begin with, and I think that's the way everybody should kind of start with it, you know, like this place we're in just now, just walking in the door and seeing all the guitars and the drums and everything, and thinking if I had that when I was younger, it would have been amazing. There would have been so many other avenues for kids like me in Kilsyth, where I grew up in Kilsyth. No, I didn't. I'm from Banton.
It's very different.
It's very different. But I went to school in Kilsyth. And I think it's like, if this was available to us when we were younger, I think it would have been amazing, but it wasn't, and that's what Drew, me, and Andy, the guitarist, together. And Brendan and our friendship started through music as well. So all my friendships and the important things in my life have came through music and through a community that likes music, and that's pretty much that's shaped everything I've done. And I think that comes through in the music as well. And people see that when they come to see us and they kind of get to know us, that it's not just about Spotify plays or how many likes you get on a photo and all that stuff. It's more important than that. Those things are good for getting in touch with people and people understanding what you do, but it's when you're in a room with somebody, be it your friends or a group of people at a gig, that's when the real kind of special feelings happen. And to me, what this band is all about.
I think that, it's a community.
Yeah.
I think, that feels like what we have here, even as staff. But you guys, I mean, you hear James speaking about, he just walked into the project for the first time and he's kind of summed up what it's about. And you can see the similarity of James and Andy meeting at school and starting in music. That's really similar to where you guys are just now.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Lewis first met through this project, 4 years ago, and we were put in a band together for a performance, and then we
progress from that.
Yeah.
And basically just kind of what do you like, and then just got into new music through each other and stuff like that. I mean, that's how my friendships kind of started with everybody, to be honest. Like anybody I like, if they didn't like the things I like, then
quite a Scottish
embrace everybody. Everybody's nice.
It seems like quite a Scottish way of dealing with your emotions as well, or our emotions, I guess, in that we're not necessarily known for being particularly expressive or being able to say how we feel, but there's something about being in a band and being with a group of friends who have similar interests and are like-minded, and then making music that you're all into. There's something in that that's, I don't know, really expressive, I guess, in its own way. And I think that's the part that I enjoy about it, and that we particularly enjoy about it. And for us, it's amazing to have that feeling and then play in front of people who can relate to that and that also feel a similar way. That's the part that I think when you're doing something and actually you see that it's connecting with other people, that's the part that I guess that's the satisfying part. That's the most satisfying part for me. Anyway.
And that's like, Brendan's totally right there, but at the same time as well, it's like, it doesn't matter how many people. Like, we're lucky that we've been able to do this for 15 years now, and it's more, we've kind of worked at it really hard. You need to work really hard at it, because it's not came easy, whatever kind of moderate form of success that we've had. But it doesn't matter. You can take it back tomorrow. We could play a gig in front of 50 people, but if it's 50 people in a room that really care about what you're doing, you still get that kind of that feeling. Like we're lucky that we've been able to do that. Like play in front of we'll play for 15 years now. But if you took, I said to somebody the other day, it was like if it ended tomorrow, I'd still write music and I'd still go and perform in some sort of way, and it wouldn't matter how many people were there, but it's just because the most important thing is the creating of it and the friendship and the kind of camaraderie of it, and the being able to express yourself. So it doesn't matter how many people or what size of venues you're playing, it's just important to do it, I think.
We played a gig a few weeks ago, and like James was saying, in terms of the number of people you play in front of, it varies and it doesn't really matter a lot of the time. We played this particular gig and it wasn't particular as well sold as some of the other shows. It wasn't as necessarily full as the other shows, but there was a wee guy standing outside the venue when Johnny and I, the bass player, and I came back from wandering around the town in Oslo, I think it was. And it was his first ever gig, and he was standing outside waiting to chat to one of us. And
skipped school that day as well.
And it was his first ever gig. And you know, chatting to that guy, it was like that was the best thing that had happened in days, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I introduced him to you
Yeah.
at the end of the gig. I was like, you need to meet this
Oh, that's
guy, and
amazing.
it was a really nice.
give a shout out as well during I dedicated a song.
Oh yeah, so you did.
And it was just amazing to see the look on somebody's face. Like Brendan said, it wasn't a big gig. There wasn't that many people there, but that's what made it amazing. That connection and the fact that somebody went, like, probably going to get into a lot of trouble the next day for skipping school, but
and their friend at the end of the night after everyone was sort of leaving, I watched the guy's pal kind of going. He was waiting to get something signed or whatever, and I saw the guy's pal like get annoyed at him for hanging about, and the wee guy's pal stormed off. I was like, oh, that's shocking. So I ran over and grabbed him, but
no, there's wee moments like that are amazing, and
yeah,
I think when you strip back all the other stuff about being in a band, that's the important thing. And I kind of said it the other night. We played like our biggest gig we'd played ever 2 weeks ago or something like that, and the one thing that was important is that, like you guys are talking about, that you guys met through this, you became pals through it. I said on the stage, the best thing about this is that I'm doing it with my friends, and you wouldn't want to do it with anybody else apart from that, because it still feels strange that we're able to do this. So, but the fact, there's loads of ups and downs like any job that you'll have. You're good or you're bad, but if you surround yourself with good people, then it just makes it even more special.
and we've spoken about it quite a lot. Like, I can't imagine, because there are ups and downs, and it is grueling a lot. Some of the time, it's hard work, but I can't imagine doing it and not doing it with people who are my friends that I'm close to, because like that is the best part about it. Like doing it with your friends and experiencing whatever it is you're experiencing, even if it's the rubbish times that inevitably happen, still experiencing that when it comes to like the high that might happen at another stage, doing all of that with people that you care about, that you love spending time with. I mean, there's never a time when
Yeah.
I was about to say there's never a time when we can't like inject some sort of fun or humour into like hanging out, and that for me is like one of the sort of another great thing about it. So
There seems that way. There's a really in music, the real extremes of some of the best music is produced by bands who either they really loathe one another and something incredible comes out of that, even if it's a momentary thing. Like I was pointing to like Astro Weeks with Van Morrison or like Rumours by Fleetwood Mac or whatever. Like the music that's born of that situation. But at the other end, having such close friendships and you're in a band with your really good friends, it can embolden you to take a chance that you wouldn't have otherwise, or it supports you in making those steps in music, and you guys have that, and I think that extends out to your audience as well.
Yeah.
One of the best shows I've ever seen was the last Barrowlands gig that you done, and your voice, your throat was pretty sore, and it was a bit of a sketch.
It was like 30 minutes before it, we nearly cancelled it, and then I'll let you finish.
I know, but you'll be right, man. Like
what got me through it was the fact there was the room full of people singing. Like, I kind of made it obvious. I was like, didn't make it obvious. I made it clear that I was like, look, I'm not 100% here, and it just kind of spurred everybody on to go, let's do this together then. Like a room full of people just singing the words back, and that was pretty. It was a bit of a roller coaster that day.
It must have been incredible for you guys from the crowd, because we were right at the very back, looking over the top. Ali and I were there. It was insane because it wasn't just like a Barrowlands karaoke. There was this real emotional weight behind it, where the crowd knew you were having a difficult time, and there was a genuine effort to support you.
Yeah, no.
How many bands would get that?
No, I think that's something special that I haven't even really witnessed at other gigs.
it was weird because I guess like, it's not something you would ever hope for or want, because it was really unpleasant in the build up to it. But weirdly, it sort of turned out to be one of those kind of special evenings where it did feel like that in the room, didn't it? It was quite.
It was. I mean, I only sang at Kiss gigs. I sang that night. It was pretty amazing. Cold Days was like one of the things I'll never forget, being in the room that night for that show.
I guess it's something that is just very real, wasn't it? Just that everyone could relate to when somebody's throat's knackered or someone's
It
struggling.
was just
and
this
it was
deep
that,
thing.
Yeah.
Somebody having a difficult time.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think it's cool for you guys. We've had chat. So we have one of the things we do at the studio, outside of the workshops and stuff, and the form of the band. We have a kind of music club and we speak about music a bit more in depth. It's really starting up in earnest next year. But when we've been talking about music and talking about the sad, I think it's cool. Like that we've got this a group of young people that have just on their own discovered the sad and are getting really into it.
What do you guys? How long have you? When did you form the band? How long ago was that?
Well, we had like a band 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that kind of just fell apart.
Yeah, that didn't go well, but
That happens.
What do you enjoy? What do you guys enjoy about playing together? I'd be interested to know.
Just
Well-
kind of like making something, I guess.
Out of nothing, just like aye.
yeah, and I like getting to know like my pals and stuff. Because I think it's quite good that I've managed to like find people that are into the same things I'm into, and
Yeah. I always kind of felt when, like, I still feel like, I like kind of us against them kind of type thing. Where you form this group with your pals, and I don't know, where I was from, we were kind of the outsiders in a wee way, and everybody was into other things, but we had music that made us pals and brought us together. And it was like kind of like, aye, we'll show them kind of type mentality. And I still have that, you know, like kind of like try to prove a point, you know what I mean, like that us against the world kind of type thing, which is pretty cool. But I don't think I'll ever lose that. I don't think you do lose that, do you? Unless you're selling out stadiums, you're like, well, the world's here.
Selling out stadiums and just jumping on your jet
Yeah.
back across the Atlantic.
Me against. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I think that's it feels like you guys have that because the group that we have, the crew, you guys are all pretty tight, and then even within that tight, there's this band. But I like that, you know, like sitting here and there's the two of you and the two of you, and you think, well, is this a conversation that you could have had at that age, you know?
Aye.
And I think it's amazing just seeing the similarity there, like you're kind of feeling the same things, the same kind of music's on the table.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the idea of that community, the thing that the band belongs to and it belongs to the band. This is the extension of that, you know?
Aye,
Pretty amazing.
life kind of changes, but when it comes to stuff like this, the reason for doing it and doesn't, if you know what I mean, and that's proof. Like with the age gap's probably like, what, 20 years here or something like that. But the same reason that you like doing what you do is the same reason that we like doing what we do. Just that we're a bit old and decrepit now.
Well, look, I know you guys had some questions you had in mind.
yeah.
Is there anything you want to ask the guys at this wee point?
What's like some of your like biggest musical inspirations, like bands and stuff?
I'll let you go first.
This will be
I'll
funny.
go first. You want me to say Joshua Caddison or something, don't you?
Just tell the truth.
Joshua Caddison. I guess.
I've no idea what they're talking about.
Oh yeah. No, you know the tune.
Oh, yeah, you know the
You
tune.
know the tune.
You do know that tune.
Yeah. I guess for me, when I was growing up, my mum's like a music teacher, or was a music teacher, and I was surrounded by classical music, like for years, and it was sort of forced upon me, and that's probably like that's what I remember the most from growing up. And I was talking to her the other day about it, because I've basically, from being a teenager, pushed classical music away from that point on. And the other day there, I was chatting to her and going, maybe now that whatever, you know, the age I'm at now, maybe now's the time to come back to it. But yeah, in terms of when I actually moved away from having to listen to my mum's classical music and
Fife.
And Fife in general.
Sorry, Fifers.
I guess when I was eventually introduced to good alternative music, bands like the Cocteau Twins, do you know them? I love them.
They're from Grangemouth. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Grangemouth's not amazing.
And although, actually,
Sorry,
my mum also used to listen a lot to Kate Bush and Joni Mitchell, and so I would cite them both as big influences on me learning to play the piano and really getting into that, and Bjork. Who else?
Don't know, it's you.
No, that's it.
Well, me, there wasn't really much music in my house. Well, there was the Eagles, which I'm not influenced by.
That was in my house as well. Was that everyone's house?
No, mine.
Eagles. My mum really liked Elton John, and I'm not going to... I quite like some Elton John stuff. But my sister was really into music. She really liked Britpop and Oasis and stuff like that. And so I could hear that coming from her room next door. And then I started to kind of listen to that, like kind of when she wasn't there, go and steal her CDs and stuff like that. But the first thing that really kind of happened to me was I think I was watching a programme, like, this is mental that you won't remember this, Top of the Pops. Do you know what Top of the Pops is?
Yeah.
Do you know what Top of the Cool.
They still have the Christmas show.
Yeah, so they do
aye.
that, yeah. So that was on every Friday night, and I listened, the Manic Street Preachers came on it, and I think the song was Designed for Life, and I was like, I don't know, something about it just kind of clicked with me. And the next day, my mum and I were in a supermarket called William Lowe, which basically turned into, it's basically what Tesco is now. And I picked up the Manic Street Preachers' Everything Must Go CD, and I put it underneath a loaf of bread so she wouldn't notice. Got to the checkout, she lifted the loaf of bread, and she just couldn't be bothered taking it back, so she just put it through. And then that was my favourite, still one of my favourite albums of all time. My first gig I ever went to was the Manics at the SECC. My sister bought me a ticket for my Christmas that year as well. So that was my earliest. And I still love them. I think they're amazing. And stuff, and like the Cure, which is a massive thing for us. And Joy Division and New Order and Cocteau Twins, like Brent says, like they grew up 15 minutes from where I grew up. So they should really, they're an amazing band. But weirdly for us, a lot of the kind of things that is the stuff that we listened to when we were younger came full circle. Like the Manics, we got to support the Manics in the Barrowlands, and I remember standing up the back with my sister. Up the back, they were playing that song Designed for Life, and just looking at her going, how did that happen? How did we go from there to we're here now, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and the same kind of thing happened with the Cure gigs and stuff like that as well. Like just listening to the Cure, and then the next minute you're touring with them and stuff. And
I had one of those moments at the one of the first Cure gigs that we played, where I was sitting up the back of this giant stadium, and they started playing Pyramid song, Plain
they
Song.
covered Radiohead. That
They covered Radiohead. They started playing Plain Song, and I just had that sort of weird, whoa,
Yeah.
what is going on moment, and yeah, that's something
That's pretty
I'll
special.
never forget. Yeah.
There's been some moments over the past 5 years that have just, because there was a point where we nearly had to call it a day. We would have still made music and stuff like that together, but not been able to do it as a job, if you know what I mean. And it went from rock bottom to then this kind of stuff happened. And I think the one thing that people can take away from our band, if you like the music or you don't like the music, is that we loved it that much we weren't willing to give up on it.
Yeah.
And I think that was, to me, a moment of going, like, we were really low and things weren't going well for us, but the belief in what we did got us through it, and then things like that started to happen. So I think that's one thing that I'm really proud of, is that if we are to set an example for anybody, which there's not a lot of things that we will set an example for, but that especially is the one, that not giving up on it. If you love it, don't give up on it. And I think I've looked at a lot of other bands that we maybe said there as well. There's some horrendous things have happened to them, but they loved it that much that they kept on going. And it doesn't matter how like if you're playing stadiums or you're playing in front of, like I say, 100 people, like, or 50 people, if you love it that much, you just can't really give up on it, and it's still worth doing. Even if it's just you and your pal, like, doing it together, it's you're doing something, like you said, you're creating something out of nothing, and that's to me, that's the most exciting part of it, is when you get that click of an idea and you're like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Might be cool just to you, or like, that's what I think every time we write a song. Like, maybe it's just me that likes us, but I like it, and that's what's important. And I think that's something that I'll take with me. I don't know where, I'm not dying or anything. I'll take it with me.
We're all dying.
That's good. I like that. I like that advice, though. And I think it's even cooler. If a band that you obviously like, and you get to hear that chat. How does that make you feel as young musicians starting out in your career in music?
Yeah.
I'm going to be a lawyer now.
It's good to hear from a band that you like, I guess,
Yeah.
about something that you're passionate about.
Is there anything that you relate to, or that you think like, oh, that sounds like kind of how I feel about being in a band?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in, if you, it's kind of, it's hard to kind of put it into words sometimes as well. Like, just when you're in a moment of something's not going that well, you're like, how are we gonna get through it? But I think playing music is more than selling tickets and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's the most important thing, that if you're starting a band, you've got to do it for the reason that you love it, more than, like I said, want to have loads of Instagram followers or something like that. Like, I nearly swore there, sorry. Stuff that.
And I think people can see that, like, people can see straight through it when there isn't that sort of genuine integrity with what you're doing and why you're doing it. So yeah, I definitely think that's the reason that
There's
the
no
band has gone on for so long, is because we're always clear about why we're doing what we're doing.
It's definitely not for the money anyway.
I think there's a strength when you see bands like that, that are playing, and no matter the venue, they would play in the same way.
Yeah.
Do you know, if they were playing a tiny bar with no stage,
Yeah.
or if they're playing the Hydro or stadiums or whatever, the performance is the same because it's real.
Yeah.
It's not this contrived thing that's fabricated to fit. It's just them, and they just present it earnestly like that, and people know. They know when they see it if it's real or not. I think that's a good thing to keep with you.
And like you were saying, like, not every gig can be good. Like, well, to your standards anyway, like, not every gig can be the best moment of all time or anything like that. And you've got to kind of realise that quite quickly, because, like, but what might not be good to you might be good to somebody that's watching you, Like Brendan said, we just did a tour of Europe, and some gigs were great, like, as in, like, attendance wise, and some were just alright. But I can look back and go, we put absolutely everything into every single one of those gigs, and even if things were going wrong and it wasn't the best gig we'd ever played, you still got to kind of try to be the best you can, because I don't know, I always think people have spent their hard-earned money. They might be really skint, like that person that came to the gig that skipped school, like, it can't just be another gig for you, like, it's got to be, you've got to be like, yeah, everything might not be going as well as you want it to be, but you've got to try your best, because who knows who's going to be in that crowd, and how you might affect that person's life, like.
There's always something different, I guess, with each gig as well. I was chatting to a fan of the band after the Manchester gig, a guy called Nicholas, and it was interesting. He'd been at the gig the night before, and he'd been at 3 or 4 at least in Europe. And I was having this chat to him about how his experience changed from night to night versus like our own experience, and it was really interesting to hear him say that each night felt different to him and felt like unique to him, because that's what it's like for us. And there was something really interesting and nice to hear that, he wasn't just turning up for the sake of going, oh, here's another gig. It was
Yeah.
each time he came along, he got something different from
Yeah,
it. And
good to hear that we weren't like robotic either, you know, like
Yeah.
here we are and
Yeah.
where are we? What's that guy's name again?
Yeah.
Like it is different everywhere you go, and you've got to be honest, you can go the other way, can you? You could go, right, where am I tonight? All right, here we go, same old performance again. Because there's people that do that, but it can't. Like, I just think that's the reason that we do this. It can't ever be like that. You know, like there's no point in doing it if you're not excited about where, like, a different set of people every night. You know, like
and you remember going to gigs when you were younger and just like your expectation and your excitement about going to see a band, like to not to see somebody turn up and not really.
I just phone it in.
Just phone it in, would be devastating. Yeah,
that I just couldn't imagine doing that. Like that to me is, I don't know. Have you guys been to many gigs? Like you've been to those? Just that feeling of when the lights go down or something like that, and then you see the band come on, you're like, I still get that, you know. And from the other side of it, it's a pretty weird feeling, but at the same time, you try and put yourself into that.
Yeah.
That feeling of going, like that first Mannix gig where I was just like, what is going to happen? Well, obviously we're going to play some songs, but just that anticipation, and I think that's pretty cool. I hope. I don't think you should ever lose that.
Have we got some more for you guys? I'm conscious we're getting quite close to the end of the pod, so I want to make sure we get them in.
Do you guys have any like pre-show rituals, kind of?
I do, but I used to have even more. Like I used to wear jeans that were tighter than these ones, and I used to always have to make sure that my Doc Martens labels were tucked out of them. That was just something weird that I had. And then there was something else. I do my warm-ups. I've got a warm-up because as I've got older, like your voice gets older as well. So and I've damaged it a few times, so I have to do my warm-ups. I don't drink as much as I used to. There's a good
tip.
Don't do drugs, kids. But I don't like it's. Yeah, I don't really do that before a gig anymore. There was something else I did. I'll let you go. What do you do?
I have a very strict routine where I go to the bathroom and then I fill my plastic cup with red wine so that I have measured that I have enough to sustain me for the entire gig. But other than that, am I meant to say that? Maybe I'm not meant to say.
Oh, it's too late now.
I also,
I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't have any other.
I do have some weird there's some weird superstitious kind of stuff I do.
Do you?
Yeah,
Secret time.
secret. But I also now make sure that my zip's up, because there was one gig I played the whole gig with my zip down, and because I've got in-ear monitors, I can't hear what anybody's saying to me apart from like what's coming in the mic. Somebody in the front crowd going, "Your zip is undone. Your zip is undone," and they all knew it, and they could have told me, they didn't, so they just let me go. So I make sure my zip's up. It was really fun seeing the pictures of that gig as well. Going, okay.
We were trying to gesture with our eyes.
I remember the Churches were on Joe's Holland, and they were playing the same night as the Pixies, and Doc had said that they walked past, they were going to go and like then just having a look to see Pixies, alright, and they were just sitting in their room listening to The Cure. I was like, that is the best pre-show ever.
Well,
like
actually,
even if you're in the Pixies, you're just sitting listening to The Cure. Anyway. I love that.
We did tend to listen to the Stone Roses quite a lot.
Yeah, we listen
Like
to
before going on. That's like hype music.
I wouldn't have picked that for you, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, Andy. That's mainly Andy.
That's Andy.
To be
Yeah?
honest. Yeah.
It's good though. It's good hype music.
Yeah, man.
Good
I like
tunes.
it.
I've never thought about it
Get
as
you up
hype
for the
music.
gig.
Eye of the Tiger. No, Waterfall by. I've definitely got some more, but I can't actually quite remember them now. But I'm quite. I did my warm ups, my thing, because I don't know. It gives you a wee bit of space before the gig as well.
Yes, routines.
Yeah.
Routines kind of.
I steam my shirt.
Do that. I mean, Aye.
Times have changed.
I sometimes grab a shirt and then potentially ask to borrow James's steamer and then can never be arsed.
Right.
So I just leave it.
Yeah, we've changed.
Was that the answer that you thought you might get for it? That's not what I'd have expected either.
We
Certainly not.
We kind of just have a laugh with each other before it as well, which is quite good.
We
Like,
definitely
there's
don't.
like I go and warm up for a wee bit. It takes like 7 minutes or something like this. 7-minute warm up, hang on my phone. But apart from that, we just sit and we stand about and talk to each other and have a laugh. I quite like that actually. I never thought about it till like thinking, what do we do before it? Usually it's just the 5 of us in the room, and we'll take the mick at each other.
Do you have any suggestions of what you think would be a good pre sort of gig ritual? Because maybe
Open to suggestion.
Open to suggestions like the huddle, the hands.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen a lot of bands do that kind of stuff where they all hug each other and like kind of do the whoa.
Like thumb war.
Can you imagine trying to suggest that?
They try to suggest that to our guitarist Andy. Right, you ready, Andy? Whoa. He'd be like, nah.
I think I would be like, no.
Yeah, nah, that's just not us, to be honest. Like, it's like somebody was saying the other day, like after our gig last 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I'm on the floor like that, absolutely done in from playing. Our guitarist plays the last note and just chucks his guitar down and just walks away. Like, I'm like greeting and all that, and he's just like, right, done. What do you do? I never see you at the end of the gig.
Him and I both bolt.
Aye. Arms around each other. Like.
Aye, we play too long these days.
Looked like a good show. Did you see the pictures for the Usher Hall gig that the guy's done? There's really good photographs online. I never made it through for the show, but a few of my friends were there. That is a venue, man. If you're going to pack out somewhere, that is a place to do it. The photos looked.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before you guys arrived. Like the light show you guys have got currently, it's pretty special. And it must have been amazing in there.
Yeah, it's quite weird. You don't actually see what the lights are when you're playing. Like, because you think it's like, oh, it's going all right, but then you see the videos back, like, whoa. Somebody's like, it's like a spaceship taking off or something. It's actually, we have quite a lot of lights just to make up for how ugly we are, to be honest.
I mean, we spend quite a bit of time sort of planning all of that, like particularly when we have a bigger room to fill, and most of the time it is put us all in black so you can't see our faces, silhouettes. But I discovered in that last run that I needed to add little lights to my keyboard because the strobes were going so raj that you couldn't see what was going on. It would like plunge me into dark. The first night in London when we had the full lighting rig, it was like I would just been transported to somewhere else.
And we blew up the PA that night
Oh,
on the
yes,
last
we
song. Yeah, these are all things not to do. Aye. You should do a podcast of what not to do in a band. And then we'll be on every week.
Was that your questions at an end? Is there anything else that you had?
I got a few things on my phone, but
Yeah, just want to make sure that we get your questions in for sure.
it's not on the notes. Yes. There was one song I was wondering about. It's That Summer at Home I Had to Become the Invisible Boy.
Mm-hmm.
The lyric, the kids are on fire in the bedroom. I just wanted to know what that meant.
That's the first song that I ever wrote in my life.
Oh, is it really?
I wrote that when I was 21, so you've got a head start on me. I didn't actually know, like, growing up in the band with Andy, we were kind of, when we were like 15, 16 onwards till about 18, we did covers, just loads of covers. I think there was like quite a lot of Guns N' Roses covers in there.
Amazing.
That's when I could sing quite high. So I didn't know what to write about, and I'd never wrote a song. And then Andy one day just went, "Look, we want to do this as a band. We don't want to just sing Guns N' Roses all week. Go and write a song or like." And it took me till I was 21 to have something to write about, and that was that song. I'll not give away exactly what it is, but it's a metaphor. I didn't go and burn any kids. A lot of stuff that in the early days, what I did were like metaphors. So it's like the kids are on fire in the bedroom, and is how do I put this? It's people with importance, like coming up with. See, like, affecting your life without even thinking about it, if you know what I mean. Like, if you think somebody in a big business, the decision they could make today could affect so many people's lives, as in all their employees and with their job, they could be fired, then there's a knock-on effect. So to me, it was childish, and the fact that kids are on fire in the bedroom. But it was a very personal thing, what was happening to me at that present moment. Hopefully that makes sense.
What do you think it like meant to you when you were listening to it? Because I always think that's interesting.
I just thought you were like setting kids on fire.
you're like
Just really literal.
You're like, that guy's weird. I hope he's not got a lighter with him.
I think that's amazing. Like a band, the lyrically, that's such a key part of the band, because not every band is like that. Like, it's just the melodies are cool or whatever, but the lyrics and really are quite significant in the band's armoury. But I always prefer if I don't know, you know, and you like to have your own thing, and it kind of belongs to you. I think like Cocteau Twins is a band like that for me, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense most of the time, and then you're trying to figure out what she's actually saying, and I love that whatever I think it is belongs to me.
You.
I like that.
Although with the Cocteau Twins, it's so
mental.
Sometimes it's so obscure that a few times I've gone, wait a minute, I need to know a couple of the words. And actually, when I went away and read a bunch of their lyrics, they're amazing, and words that I can still take on the meaning that I take from reading it, but having been able to not hear it when you're listening to it. It's pretty interesting. You
kind of changed that for me a wee bit, and we were in Manchester, and that we were all staying in an apartment that we had on Heaven or Las Vegas, and you told me a lyric.
Oh yeah.
And I was like,
ruined it.
You did. But it had never occurred to me to figure it out before, because it's just like, well, this is just that's part of the song.
Well, I think Liz Fraser was just so probably still is maybe, but insecure with her writing, because she felt like she was revealing too much of herself, that's part of her reasoning for sort of obscuring her voice, and that created the whole sound of the band, the sort of ethereal sound.
I think on an obvious level of the Cocteau Twins, we'll wrap it up, because that's time, guys.
Thank you very much.
Cheers for listening. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot for coming down. Thanks for sitting on with the podcast as well, guys. So, James and Brendan, thanks very much.
Cheers. Merry Christmas.
We say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.